You might have great intentions with that SEO keyword research that you're doing and whatever tool you may have purchased to use to do all that SEO keyword research. But unfortunately, there's a good chance that that SEO keyword research that you're conducting is actually hurting your chance of ranking instead of helping your chances of ranking. This is something that I see far more times than not, unfortunately. My name is Liz Jostis, and I own Eli Rose Social Media, and we work with small business owners and independent professionals on all of their online marketing needs. So let's talk about that research that you're doing for your website's SEO. So what I see time and again is that when someone starts with an SEO project, or perhaps they hire an outside firm, they spend hours and hours and lots of money doing research on popular keyword phrases. And then they're presented with this list of popular keyword phrases that they're just supposed to decide to rank for. They're supposed to put these keyword phrases on their site, and this is what they're going to shoot for. So the first problem with this is one of kind of the fundamental elements of SEO. You do need to do keyword research, and you do need to have those title tags and meta descriptions and alt tags and all that good stuff on the back end of your website and on all of those product pages and service pages, your home page, your blog posts, all that good stuff. But all the keyword research in the world won't really help you if the words on the page don't correspond with that keyword research that you just spent all this time on and now you're trying to utilize. So that's the thing. The words that you're using for your SEO, whether it's your title tag, meta descriptions, alt tags, they need to essentially match. Not exact phrase match, because we don't want to end up talking like robots throughout all of the text that's on the pages of our website, but it needs to correspond with that on-page text. So you might find, oh, here's a super, super popular keyword phrase, and then you're going to try to stick it on a page that doesn't really go with that super, super popular keyword phrase. So really, if you're doing keyword research first and you already have an existing website, you really need to do the research that's driven by the content that's already on your website. Does that make sense? So if you are purely just saying, here's some popular keyword phrases for my niche, whatever that niche is, if you want to, hey Pat, so if you want to go ahead and rank for that really popular stuff, you need to write new content that corresponds with that really, really popular stuff. Because ultimately, your business, your services, the way you're explaining those businesses and those services, that stuff is already on your website page. So you need to seek out and do research for a keyword phrase that makes sense for the words that you're using. Because, that's really like the ultimate of SEO, is that all of this stuff works together. So if your content is over here and then your SEO is over here and they kind of overlap, but they're not a perfect fit, you're not going to end up where you want to, in those search results. So especially if you haven't done any SEO at all and you're just getting started, you need to figure out what the best keyword phrases are for the words that are already on the pages of your website. And then if you want to seek out, oh, here's some hot topics, we're looking at Google Trends, we're using the Google keyword research tool, whatever, and maybe you've identified additional keyword phrases, but use those additional keyword phrases for new stuff, unless you can reasonably adjust, your website content to make it a better fit, maybe for something that's popular. But usually, that's one of the big things that I run into with clients, is that their page says this, their keyword research says this, and they're trying to make that go together, but it's not really working. So the second thing would be not thinking like a human. And by that I mean Google continues to just be a bigger deal. Google wants you to write for humans, and it continues to enhance its semantic search. So you need to use your SEO and, the way you're positioning your SEO and how you're writing your keyword phrases, those need to match the way people are searching in Google. So, and Google understands, basically the way people talk. And if people are saying like, how to do this or why am I doing that? You need to be having those longer keyword phrases that better match with the way that people are Googling. So an example of this was recently with a client of mine, and I was hired to rewrite their content for their homepage and also do the SEO for their homepage. And they had some existing SEO on their page, and I just prefer using Google itself. I find for lots of reasons, but one of the key reasons, which is what the point that I'm going to drive home here is, so many of those research tools, no matter how much you pay for them, they're just kind of like a bunch of words mushed together, and they're not the way that people would speak, and they're not the way people would search, and they're not a phrase that humans would use. So if Google is moving to semantic search and has been for a while, and you're supposed to write by like humans, why would you try to take an approach with your SEO that's just kind of like word salad? That again is not like Google says this is what you need to do, and you're doing this. You might get kind of close, and there might be some of that overlap because the keywords in your word salad are important keywords for that website page or that blog post or that product page, but it's not the best fit, and it's not the stuff that's really going to maximize your SEO for that page. So with this client, for example, it was a preschool in a certain city in a certain state. And again, this is only 3 words, so it's just a really simple example. The word salad isn't nearly as mangled as it otherwise would be. But I looked up the search volume for the SEO that they had, which was just the word preschool, then the city, then the state. So like this, it wasn't in Memphis, but I live in the Memphis, Tennessee area. So if it was for me, it'd be like preschool, Memphis, Tennessee. Naturally, I feel like more people would say like preschools in Memphis, Tennessee, or a Memphis, Tennessee preschool, or best preschools in Memphis, Tennessee. You get where I'm going, more like the way humans would talk, the way that you would sit down if you Googled for yourself. And the SEO that they had yielded a search result. It was something like 160,000 or 150,000 search volume. I did all these different variations of, different ways that people could potentially search, and ultimately preschools in the city and state had a search volume of over 600,000. But I know that this particular client was using one of those paid SEO tools that are one of the popular brands that, this was supposed to be the very best keyword phrase to use. But simply going to Google and searching for free and searching different ways, that a human would search, obviously, that's 4 times better, 3.5, 4 times better search volume. And this again was just for their homepage, the real basics, but that's a huge difference, and for us working with small business owners, they tend to just have a certain regional market. So those numbers, if you work in just a certain area or you're a single shop, they're not going to be big numbers. You shouldn't be looking at stuff that's in the millions if you just work in one specific geographical area. And so that was a perfect example of that. You do the research, you find these keyword phrases that are sort of just mushed together, and then you're utilizing that on your website pages. And again, you might get kind of close, but you're not going to really maximize your SEO if that's the way that you're doing your keyword research. So what you should do instead is you really need to if you're optimizing the current stuff already on your site, you need to figure out what the best word keyword phrases are for the content that you have. So don't worry about what the tools are telling you. You need to say, here's what I'm talking about on this page. Then what's the best keyword phrase for the content that's already on this page? That's the best way to go about doing that. Then after you do that, once you've selected that keyword phrase, what you need to do is make sure you go back and really read through that page or that blog post or that product page and make sure you have enough explanation and you are using those important words and that it is, fully and properly filled out. One of the things that I run into a lot with small business owners, because this is their business and they're in the center of their business, they tend to, it's like, they'll read through their content and it makes sense to them and they feel like they're explaining it properly and they feel like they're explaining it thoroughly. But if they really kind of took a step back and said, hey, if this is my first time visiting this page or visiting this website or checking out this company, does this content really explain everything that it needs to explain? If that's, an outside viewer, and really that's who your websites are for. And if you are optimizing it, it's also for people to find you who don't already know about you, because if they know about you, you don't need to worry about the SEO because they're just going to type in your name or your URL straight into your browser bar. So that's something to keep in mind, because you can say like, hey, if it's me, I'm doing like Facebook ads management for small businesses, but I don't actually use those words like Facebook ads management, or I might just say like ads instead of Facebook ads. I don't talk about the fact that I train small businesses, even though I know that that's what my service is sort of designed for, and that is what the keyword phrase is that I'm going for. I also need to make sure that I use those words on the page. So that's really where your SEO comes together. So that would basically be the wrap up for this. I think it's really important for people to optimize their site, and I give so many people so much credit for trying to get in there and do that, but it's just kind of painful where I feel like it's easy to get dazzled or drawn in by offers and promises from these different keyword research tools or whatnot. You don't need that, honestly. I feel like a lot of times, especially if it's somebody who doesn't really know a lot about SEO, they tend to get led astray instead of really benefiting from that. So that's really where you need to focus on your SEO. Do your research for the words that are on your page, for your products, for your services. Don't worry about the very most popular phrases. And the other part of that is make sure when you're writing those keyword phrases, you're writing those title tags and the headings on your page and your meta descriptions, you're thinking like a human, because that's the way you're really going to make the most out of your SEO. So if you have any questions for me about what we talked about today, other SEO questions, other online marketing, small business questions, please feel free to leave it in the comments below, and you all have a good rest of your day. Bye.